In this life, you have to insulate your mind from dumb people. Otherwise, they will corrupt you. There was a time where you had to go out and find dumb people, but now they come to you. So, one of the more annoying things I've noticed is when people attribute all the issues in the world to social media, as if everything was problem free before. But that's just low hanging fruit. There's a difference between something not happening and you not being aware of it. The part I do agree with, though, there are new versions of problems that were already there, and now you gotta learn to navigate it in a digital world. Everyone is online, including idiots. The internet is a funny place because while I do think it's a net positive, a part of me is sure we weren't wired to be aware of this many people's thoughts. The thing about social media is, more or less, everybody has access to it. And what that means is, you have a wide range of comprehension, understanding, insight, and interpretation. You can be a person who does the work, experience different things, and know something like the back of your hand. And then you'll have some jackass pop up in your mentions and say you got it all wrong. And they know the real. The wide range of opinion thing is something to emphasize because no matter where you are in the real world, whether it's school, work, grocery store, mall, every single person there has thoughts and opinions on things. And if everybody in those spaces start talking, it will be hard to tell who's actually worth listening to. Even in the school example, there were folks who just didn't understand things as well as others. You had people who were the loudest, you had people who were class clowns, or people who you know not to take seriously. But the thing is, you knew who they were, right? You had folks who had to read with the finger and sound out every word. But now with spell and grammar checks, they can sound like a studious person. So online, everybody can take up the same amount of real estate, some more than others, and appear as reasonable individuals. And the worst part of it is people who tend to crowdsource their opinions, almost like they have no ability to form their own thoughts. They have to look around first and say, is this okay? Because they don't want to offend somebody or attract a mob of people who dislike them. In other words, folks have like almost a tribalistic mentality, and they go out of their way to homogenize their thoughts with other people. And if you have the wrong opinion, it's almost like there's a weird effort to project things onto you as a person based on a 10-second clip or a 20-word tweet, or, just you not having the opinion that everybody else holds. I understand it, but I just don't get it. I think social media is one of the best social experiments you could ever leverage. A person is automatically right based on how many people like them. A person is automatically wrong if they're disliked. Confirmation bias is king, and the mob mentality is even more prevalent. There's just certain places on the internet you wander into and it feels like the Twilight Zone. Like folks are saying a bunch of dumb stuff and clapping for each other and patting each other on the back. And the reason I'm bringing this up is people on the internet are quick to pull studies and statistics and articles and all this other stuff, but they have very little clue how to interpret them. A random stat or article doesn't prove anything. In the age of information, anybody can make a blog post or become a source for themselves and have people just share it, and instantly they become the right answer, right? It's still important to ask yourself questions. What's the sample size? What's the demographic? Where is this taken from? What time was this taken from? Does the info causate or correlate? How many people? When was it done? Does this actually make sense? It's simple questions. Sometimes I joke that social media and the internet is like one big game of who can get their echo chamber to show up first. They think if enough people just come in and get mad, that's going to make you change your opinion or change what the truth actually is. It don't work that way. And come to think of it, you know what's the most pointless activity? Arguing with people. And when it comes to online spaces, that seems to be the driving force of everything. Social media is where people get to come and deflect, argue over whataboutisms, blow up exceptions, or act like they're the norm, and use obscure anecdotes to prove points. The sky is blue in real life, but online, you could be like, the sky is blue. And they'll be like, what about colorblind people? Or somehow everyone on the internet makes six figures, but in real life, that's not the case, obviously. Like I said before, it's like the Twilight Zone. The one that really bugs me is when people act like every single situation in real life is contrived, as if it's just one big quick time event. Well, if you just did blank, like I would, everything would have gone perfectly. If you just said this thing at this exact time, everything would have been fine. If you just read this person exactly as I would, same concept. If you know what a quick time event is, it's usually in video games where at certain moments, time completely stops or slows down, and you hit a couple of buttons to continue. We all know life doesn't work like that. Sometimes it's simple, sometimes it's more complex. One thing I had to learn is that some people just gotta blow some steam off. It's Tuesday, they don't get paid for another 3 days. Their girlfriend or boyfriend or they friend done pissed them off. The side chick or side dude ain't picking up the phone. They ain't had their crack for the week or the day. The weed done ran out. The plug ain't answering either. It's just all bad. And personally, I like to think that anybody who disagrees with me is on crack. But, you know, it is what it is. You're never going to get people to change their opinion on things. All you can do is state your perspective and keep it moving. Think about it. Does it really matter if you're right or wrong to an idiot? The internet allows dumb people to amplify everything they do. They don't follow any rules of logic, and they will barely use words as they're intended to be used, and they barely use it if they know what it means at all. They'll just change definitions or stretch them out to mean nothing. And half the arguments on the internet is because the person legitimately did not understand what you said, or just didn't have the comprehension to understand it. Now, don't get me wrong, the internet is fun, even with all the thoughts, agendas, and drama flying around. That's just the best and worst part. But sometimes, you just gotta go outside. Going outside is good, because when you're online, you're almost tuned in too much. When you go outside, you don't know about other people's problems or thoughts or situations. You're just chilling. You're able to detach, and the most important part is, when you go to the right places or venues and you're enjoying yourself, you don't even have the desire to open up these apps. Doubting yourself in real life because of an app you could just close is not the play. I might sound like an idiot to some other suckers out there, but I'm perfectly okay with that. You can take the ass out the dumb, but you can't take the dumb out the ass. Appreciate you for making it this far. As always, if you enjoyed this, check out my content. Subscribe if you want to see more from me. And also check out my newsletter where I share notes just like this straight to your inbox. And yeah, I'm out. Peace.